Hello, my name is Fabiana, and in this podcast, I'm going to discuss Congress. So we can look at Congress as a complicated recipe with no ingredients because we're just kind of trying to figure out how to do things and what works best. But obviously that's not really the entire definition. So we can look at Congress as a bicameral legislature divided into two equal institutions. There's the House of Representatives and there's the Senate. Both of these have unique responsibilities and jobs that they must do to create the whole Congress. So a little bit of background. After America was forming its baby country, we decided to implement our Articles of Confederation, which automatically ran into many problems because it gave the states a lot of authority and the central government not a lot of authority. So the states having that authority can create their own laws and procedures, and everybody's gonna have a different opinion, and that started to create a more divided government and not so much a united states. So the Constitutional Convention of 1787 was held to talk about the issues, and Virginia's delegates proposed a plan that called for bicameralism, while New Jersey called for a unicameralism government where the states have authority. But this was resolved by a third proposal called the Connecticut Compromise or the Great Compromise. The Constitution specifies that every state will have 2 senators who each serve 6-year terms, and there are 2 seats per state. So that would be, since there's 50 states, there's 100 seats in the Senate. And then the seats in the House of Representatives are determined by districts. And there are 435 districts currently based on the U.S. Census population. And every 10 years when we do conclude, it all gets shifted and the information gets put into a computer and it spits out what the information needed to redistrict them is. So the House of Representatives has House leadership, which includes the Speaker, majority and minority leaders, assistant leaders, whips, and a party caucus or conference. Fun fact, over half of the workers work over 50 hours a week and some working over 60. Woo! So you must be 25 to be elected at 2-year terms with no limit. The Speaker acts as a leader of the House and combines several institutional and administrative roles. And he or she may write the articles of impeachment to remove a federal official. Majority, which is a party with the majority of seats, and the minority leaders represent their respective parties on the floor. Every 2 years, when there's a new Congress, they vote for the Speaker, and usually the majority party wins. So the House has standing committees that have oversight and responsibilities to monitor agencies, programs, and activities within their jurisdiction. And some examples of these is agriculture, armed services, budget, education and labor, and energy. It is important to care about your House of Representatives because the people that make the decisions in the House that make those laws and start drafting those may directly affect you. So it is important to know what is happening. The Senate, there are 102 for each state that served for 6 years. The role of the Senate was conceived by the Founding Fathers as a check on the popularity elected House of Representatives. The Senate shares responsibilities with the House for all lawmaking within the United States. For an act of Congress to be valid, both houses must approve an identical document. Filibusters, a loosely defined term for action designed to prolong debate and delay or prevent a vote on a bill, resolution, amendment, or other debatable question. And the Senate can vote to replace a time limit on reconsideration of the bill, which takes 2/3 of the Senate. So the Vice President of the United States is actually the President of the Senate. They don't have much of a role other than stepping in when there is a tie, and they constitutionally have the vote to resolve the tiebreaker. They also have committees. They have about 16, and some examples of these are appropriations, armed service, budget, and commerce. Each of these have staff, budgets, and various subcommittees. So let's talk about how bills become laws. So any member of the House or Senate can introduce a bill. The bill is then referred to a relevant committee for review and potential amendments. The committee can choose to pass the bill, amend it, or kill it outright. If the committee approves the bill, it is sent to the full House or Senate for consideration. The bill is debated and voted on by the full House or Senate. If the bill passes in one chamber, it is sent to the other chamber for consideration. If the House and Senate versions of the bill differ, a conference committee is formed to reconcile the differences. The conference committee is made up of members from both chambers. If the conference committee reaches an agreement, the revised bill is sent back to both chambers for a final vote. Once the bill passes both chambers in identical form, it's sent to the president. The president can sign the bill into law, veto it, or take no action. But they must take the action within 10 days, unless Congress adjourns, in which case it becomes a pocket veto. If the president vetoes the bill, Congress can override the veto with a 2/3 majority vote in both chambers. So that's kind of a little bit of a review of what Congress is. Obviously, there's so much more to it, but just know that Congress is made up of two institutions, the House and the Senate, and they both work together to create laws. They also help fund the government. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.